Welcome back to the channel. In this video I'll be showing you the things that I modified to add a backup camera and activate the Sirius XM radio receiver in the radio head unit in my 2014 Chevrolet Caprice PPV. The 14 Caprice did not come with a backup camera, and my trunk lid has a dent, so I sourced a trunk lid from a 17 Caprice, and in the middle there in the chrome trim, you can see the backup camera. So that solved both problems for me. And then I obtained a wiring harness from Steve Walker on newcaprice.com. That's where I found him, and he generated a version of his backup camera wiring harness that connected into the auxiliary battery wiring harness connectors that are left over when I removed the auxiliary battery equipment from my vehicle. Now this is tapping into the reverse light on the vehicle, and then I'm going to show you the routing from the trunk area. It goes up and over the opening there at the top of the rear seat. Then I run it down along the side there. I try to reuse the existing path for all the wiring harnesses along the side of the body there. And then whenever there's a white plastic protective cover, I route it underneath that. Now this same path I'm going to show you, or at least I tell you about when I route the XM radio antenna. I tried a couple different options there, but I ended up using this path. But I took out the vent over on the passenger side here that gives me access to the wiring harness as it moves across the dash area there and towards the center. And then here are the two wires that the red and black wires are added into the pre-existing connector for the backup camera. I gained access to the radio head unit, which I'll show you in just a little bit in some time-lapse video, but this radio head unit does have an XM receiver. In the middle there, you can see I have a blurred section, but it says XM, so it does have a receiver in it. And then on the back side, I did confirm that I had the antenna jack on the extreme left there with the red arrow pointing to it. So with that, I sent it off to WAMS, W-A-M-S, or White Automotive and Media Services, to get it reprogrammed to activate both the backup camera and the XM radio receiver. To remove the radio head unit, or the silver box, you need to remove two decorative trim pieces below the radio display area, and then that will expose four 7mm headed bolts, two of which are for the base of the radio display, and two are at the top of the HVAC controls. Once those are removed, you lift up on the base of the radio display area to give a little bit more access so that the emergency flasher area on the HVAC controls can tip out, and then you can pull that out and disconnect that. And then you go around the trim of the radio display, and you need to lift up on the gear selector just a little bit to let the left-hand side around the vent there to clear the gear selector. And then there's three connectors on the back of the radio display to allow that to be disconnected and removed. Then there's four 7mm bolts for the radio head unit, and then you can pull that out. And there are several connectors on the back, as you saw on the previous picture of the back end of that. But in this case, I'm actually adding the XM antenna and the adapter for this to do a quick test to make sure it works. I simply ran the XM antenna all the way out into the driveway and then connected it to the back of the radio head unit, and just to verify that it worked, and it did. So with that, I'm going to go in and show you the route that, or at least the end solution that I got to with the placement of the XM antenna on the vehicle. I had a couple tries, one worked. I had three different places that I put the antenna at, and the first one here is in that center hole for the speaker in the SS sedan. At least the Caprice doesn't have one, or at least mine doesn't have one. So I put it down at the bottom of that hole, zip tied it in place. The preview channel did a test drive. The preview channel worked just fine, but when I activated the radio, other channels were cutting out at points that they shouldn't have. So I bought this drain grate cover, cut it down to elevate the antenna and kind of point it a little bit more towards the front of the vehicle. It helped a little bit, but there were still areas where the signal strength was dropping, so I knew I had to put the antenna on the outside of the vehicle. Unfortunately, that's not exactly easy finding the location. There's not a lot of good weather stripping to put wires underneath, so I decided to route it in the interior of the vehicle in that same path that I showed you for the backup camera that I used for the wiring for that. I used that to route the wire for this, and then I placed it on the roof where the AM/FM antenna is, and I used that hole, and then I made sure that I got it compressed down nicely and used some sealant on there so I don't have any water leaks. And then as far as the connector going to the radio, you can see that one here, and I got that part information from Steve Walker, so thank you very much, Steve. And I'll have that part number information down in the description section, so if you wish to go look there for the links, those will be affiliate links. So if you want to help out the channel, please go down there and check those out. And if you purchase that or anything else within 24 hours from Amazon, I will get a commission on that at no extra cost to you. I reinstalled the radio head unit after I received it back from programming to test the backup camera, but I didn't have the XM radio antenna at that point. So it said a DTC within the radio head unit saying that the satellite connection was open. Now that that particular feature was activated within the radio head unit, it was checking that connection. So I'm going through and clearing out that DTC. It's no longer a current DTC, but it's in the history, so I just cleared that out. So that was the last step, and since then the backup camera and the XM radio have been working just fine. So if you found the video to be informative and you like the information and the content, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification to be notified when I upload new videos like this to the channel. Check out the description section for links, and if you want to try support the channel, use the affiliate links to purchase anything, or you can decide to support the company financially by going to Patreon, becoming a Patreon supporting member, or if you want to send a one-time donation, check out the PayPal link. Thanks for watching.